we're going to talk about a tool that is used so much in the type of work that I do. And maybe it's something that you use every day. If you're a videographer, maybe you're a video production company, whatever it is, you might use one of these awesome, handy little drones. Now, this is the DJI Mini 3 Pro, a fantastic 249-gram drone that falls just below the limit here in Canada, meaning you don't need your pilot's license, your basic drone pilot's license, but still able to pack a pretty good punch. Now, we use this on a lot of the videos for our clients. They would like to show off the buildings from the outside. Maybe we're doing a tourism video, so we're showing off some of the different areas from the sky, and it's always nice to add in a different type of footage rather than just gimbal work, camera work. Drones can add a very, very valuable different viewpoint. We have a fantastic cameras from the FX6, which I'm shooting on right now, to the A7S III as our B cam, but our drones, we've just found that they just weren't doing exactly what we needed them to do, and that is produce the best of the best quality. So we have a awesome upgrade, the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. Now, the one that I got is a refurbished unit just because, well, the Mavic 3 Pro has been out for a little bit now, and we all know that whenever you're buying camera equipment, drones, mics, cameras, everything like that, there's always gonna be a new one. There's always going to be some new unit, some that's gonna come out, maybe it'll take a year, maybe it'll be 6 months, maybe it'll be 3 years. So rather than, you know, spend a ton of money and get the best of the best while this thing is potentially during the midway or towards the end of its cycle, I'd rather pay a little bit less, get the same drone, get the same amazing footage out of it, but again, just pay a little bit less. I did buy the DJI Care refresh on this. I do it with every DJI product that I buy. What I'm really loving about the Mavic 3 Pro that I've seen so many videos on is that Hasselblad camera. The main camera on the Mavic 3 is just leaps and bounds ahead. I've always bought the Mavic series. I've always had one. I had the first Mavic that came out, and then I had the Mavic 2, and now we have the Mavic 3 Pro. So this is the protector that comes on the drone. It's a lot easier than the one that came with the 2, which I absolutely hated. So this is much nicer. And there we have that fantastic triple camera that just produces fantastic images. We have our chargers. We also have our DJI RC controllers with built-in screens. I find is so worth the money. Rather than going ahead and plugging in your cell phone and having connectivity issues, you know, having it all in one, you can have your cell phone able to do whatever you want for the rest of the day while you're flying. You don't have to worry about plugging in, and these controllers work very, very well. I knew that I was going to need extra batteries for this kind of work. So I went out and bought this, which is the Case and the Fly More kit. It came with everything, car charger. It came with the dock for charging 3 batteries at once. It came with 2 batteries and a ton of propellers, which is fantastic and I love. I went out and purchased these beforehand, which are the Freewell ND filters. Now, I've always used Freewell for my ND filters. I've always really, really enjoyed them. I think they produce fantastic results. ND 1000, ND 2000. So you have a lot of options and flexibility, because I absolutely hate it when you go fly your drone and it is just too bright and you're just below there, so you have to play with the settings and play with your shutter speed and everything. I really, really do not like that. So that's why I bought these Freewell filters. What are the things that made me go ahead and get the Mavic 3 Pro? Well, number one, this main lens right here, the Hasselblad, I think it's equal to a 24mm lens. This thing is phenomenal. The footage that comes out of this drone, the main camera, is absolutely gorgeous. Now, it does have 2 other lenses on here, which are a 70mm and a 166mm, I think. But the only trouble with the other 2 lenses is they're gonna be closer in footage to the Mini 3 Pro or the Mini 4 Pro. So the footage that's gonna come out of those 2 telephoto lenses isn't going to look as good. It's still passable, but when you're doing client work, you know what? You should be using that main camera. Think of these other 2 more for your sake, hobby's sake, maybe some smaller clients. The 70mm is definitely more passable for good footage than the 166, because that's really just taking a very small part of the sensor. But this main lens is absolutely gorgeous, and that's one of the main reasons that we got it. The problem with the Mini 3 Pro is it's shooting in D-Cine-like. Now, you're still able to play with the colors a little bit. You're still able to get some good shots, but it's not going to be great. You don't have that flexibility that you would with something like the Mavic 3 Pro, where you can shoot in D-Log and really play with the colors, really play with the contrast, saturation, highlights. You're just not going to be able to do as much with this. Again, good beginner drone, just not great when it comes to client work. And so that's why we're kind of demoting this one to where, you know, for example, there's some areas that we want to fly this guy because it's restricted and we don't have our advanced license. Well, this is where this one would come into play. You can still use this in certain zones with extreme caution and making sure that everything's okay. But this one will be more for hobby use or trips or just getting to places where you can't with this guy. So for now, this one, we're gonna put it over to the side. And you know, something that's kind of silly, but somewhat true when it comes to video work is when you pull out a drone like this, you know, honestly, it looks like a toy. So you're, you know, let's say that you're working with a client, they're a fairly big client, you take out your drone and it looks like something that their kid would be buying at Walmart. When you pull out something like this, you know, it definitely gives off a professional vibe. Not always the case, but it does add a little extra once in a while. But, you know, a tool for a certain purpose, and that's why we got it, is we needed it for the work that we do, and so it was a worthwhile investment. Not a cheap investment, but a worthwhile one, and something that we're going to use in a ton of videos, and we're going to use it probably in, I would say, about 70% of our client work, we will be using drone footage. Now the fun part, I have to go and register this drone in the Transport Canada drone management portal, and we're gonna be looking at upgrading to our advanced license very, very soon because it is worthwhile making sure that we can film in every area and there's not gonna be any issues. So that's where I'm off to right now, and we will see you in the next video.